What's up, it's me Kevin, just here for another video. I'm back from Cuba. Obviously I posted on my Google account that I was going to Cuba, and I showed some pictures from there. My picture of me with that saltwater croc, it was pretty awesome. I'll be posting a few more in the next couple days. Other than that, today I will be talking about the Fantastic Four trailer, which I did see. Unfortunately I was in Cuba at the time, so I could not do a review video, but I'm here to talk about that, and I also talking about the whole Ian McKellen, what their involvement in the upcoming X-Men films will be. Now, starting with Fantastic Four, I kind of like the old ones. A lot of people kind of like put them up against like the prequels to Star Wars. They just were not good. I like the very first one. The second one, like they weren't very grounded. They were just kind of all over the place, and that's why I thought they were more of a fun movie rather than a good movie. So, and the difference between a fun movie is that, you know, it's stupid and dumb, but you still watch it anyways, because you just, for the sake of it, it's the only thing you have, like, only thing you have to watch related to, you know, Fantastic Four and all that. With this new trailer, it personally, for me, it felt like a Christopher Nolan film. It was very grounded, it was very interstellar-y, reality grounded kind of feeling. Like, I didn't know what to think of it. I really think they're going to go with kind of a Christopher Nolan route, where they're going to make everything as real as possible, like they did, like Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy, where they're going to make it very bent in reality, real Earth kind of thing. It's like the Avengers, where they're grounding things heavily to make things as real and scientifically awesome as possible, rather than just shooting things off into some crazy kind of genre where, you know, the sci-fi movie thing, and that's good to make things sci-fi, but like something like Fantastic Four or even X-Men, you have to ground them. Like, you know, if I had to ground like 1 to 10, it had to be like 6, 7, 8. They have to be up there. They have to be filmed that are grounded, to make them as real and personal as possible, because they just like the other Fantastic Four films, they just did not have that grounded feeling. They just did not feel like they're worth watching, frankly, just because. Now I'm not blaming the actors for this. I think it's up to the director. He has to make things as grounded and as what's that word for it? I'm trying to think of it. It just make a thing as bent in reality. Like in our world, they have to make things look as real as possible, like what Marvel has done with the Avenger films. They bent them down in reality and real, you know, issues and stuff like that in society, and they make them feel. Like, it's about feeling emotions, about knowing, like, feeling like you are feeling the same thing that they're feeling. That kind of thing. Hopefully that makes sense. I really think that's the way they're going with this trailer, Fantastic Four trailer, is that they want to make it as grounded, as personal, and as really enduring as possible. That's why it looks the way it does, because, like, personally, like, it looked like such a... Like, it didn't even look like a Fantastic Four trailer. It looked like a Halo trailer, personally, because it looked that good. For a trailer, just at the very end of the trailer, it looked like a Halo trailer, to tell you the truth. But yeah, with this trailer, it just looks like it's good. It almost has that kind of Star Trek Into Darkness kind of feeling, where it's really down to the grit. It's gonna be, you know, whatever you discover, you're gonna have to fight through it, and, you know, do what has to be done kind of feeling. And that's what I think, what kind of tone that they're gonna put for this film. Like, it most likely will be connected to a Marvel, or to a much larger universe connected with X-Men, but like, this film has to be, I think the very first film of any franchise, it has to be, or connected to a universe of any kind, has to be the very first film for that, you know, characters or character. It has to be about the character and what makes them who they are. And then once it's just like Iron Man 3 or any of those movies, they have to they have to, like, have those characters come full circle. Like, they could go, you know, one Fantastic Four, you know, okay, they know who they are, but then after 1, 2, and 3, they evolve and that kind of thing. So I really think that's what something that hopefully Fox is working towards. Just like with the X-Men films, they evolve Wolverine. Like, it's hard to evolve Wolverine because he's been around for so long. Just 1 second, guys. I need some water. Throat just kills me sometimes. It's very dry in here too. So, like I said, you know, that's what the point I think they're trying to get across with this new Fantastic Four, that they are going directly into reality. It's gonna be real. It's gonna be gritty. It's gonna be, you know, like everyday problems kind of thing, where, you know, it won't be just, oh, I'm gonna save the world here, I'm gonna save the world there. that they are like emotionally these characters, the new Fantastic Four, Reed Richards and Susan Storm, all that they are all gonna feel human. They're gonna have to get their hands into the dirt. They're gonna go through a lot of pain and suffering, but through all of it, they will become good people by the end of it, and that hopefully that we'll be able to feel that. So with those characters, and that's like in the last Fantastic Four trailers, I didn't feel that. Like they just did not, feel like enduring characters. I don't blame the actors at all. I never blame the actors because they're just hired to do a job and do the best that they can do. With these new ones, they look like they're real, like the characters they have picked out. Or not, like the actors. I don't know all of them. Like the weirdest thing is a lot of these actors are side characters. They've always been supporting situations, supporting roles in films, and at this point they're becoming all key roles. And yeah, it's gonna be very interesting what Fox does. And I did hear a long time ago, obviously that not a long time ago, but probably a few months ago, that the whole Fantastic Four production was having issues, problems. And that and that maybe they are, but from this trailer, like obviously they don't make the trailer like a company does or whatever. They take a bunch of scenes, they make a trailer, they release it. But from seeing this, and it looks really good, and it looks very enduring and very powerful, and that's what it was supposed to feel like. Very enduring, powerful, and moving. And then eventually, once they bring another trailer out, hopefully it's going to be the same way, where it moves you, and you have to see this film. Just like when you see Avengers, you see, characters that are going through a lot of pain and suffering, but they, just like good, superhero characters, they will rise from the dust and defeat the bad guy. So, I really look forward to seeing this trailer, seeing this film. But from this trailer, I was I really liked it. But for a long time, up to the end of this trailer, I thought it was a Halo trailer, to tell you the truth, because that very end scene looks like a very unique Halo kind of look to it from the game. I mean, obviously Halo from the game, but just the way the trailer looks, it looks like a Halo trailer. So, moving on, guys. Ian McKellen. Are they going to be involved further within the X-Men universe? From, what we've heard in the last couple of months, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart have already said that they weren't going to be involved at all with X-Men Apocalypse, and now that it's said that Patrick Stewart he may have a role in the next Wolverine film. Side note, guys, I do apologize if you do hear air or any kind of venting. Like, I do have a vent just over here, so if you hear something in the background, I do apologize. I try to make your voice as clear as possible, but sometimes I can't. I can't shut up everything, unfortunately. But like I said, that Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart will have some kind of role in the upcoming films. Ian McKellen said, he wasn't going to have any involvement with the X-Men Apocalypse film, but that that doesn't mean he won't be involved further down, which he had already confirmed that he would have some participation in the next Wolverine film. Which at the end of us, I do want to say something, but I will, I posted something on Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm blurring this out, but I do want to tell you something. But I have to get through these few segments of talking between Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and then I have a theory I want to tell you guys. I really believe is true. Like I said, with Patrick Stewart being involved with the next Wolverine film, and then actually Ian McKellen being involved in the X-Men Apocalypse. With Ian McKellen being involved with X-Men Apocalypse, I don't know what that could be possibly. Like, maybe it could be like a flashback it could be some kind of flash forward or something, some kind of timeline thing that happens. Personally, that situation, I don't know. I didn't think that they would have any involvement, because I thought they were passing the torch, obviously, to the new X-Men. But his role in that film could be a flashback. It could be something. Personally, for me, that's actually the one thing I don't know what kind of involvement he could have in that film. But we'll have to see. But Patrick Stewart, that's a whole different ball game. Like, I'm getting on to that kind of theory I have. I believe that the reason why in the next Wolverine film Patrick Stewart will have some kind of role is because it obviously will be set after X-Men Days of Future Past, and I do believe that Wolverine and hopefully this all makes sense. I will recap everything. If I start blabbing off something that doesn't make sense, but I do believe Patrick Stewart will, obviously tell Wolverine what he's missed in the last 30 years. Obviously, from X-Men Apocalypse, he doesn't remember any of that from before or from after what happens in the events of X-Men Days of Future Past. But that he'll tell them that. Tell Wolverine obviously what is missed and blah blah blah, and that obviously in the film there will be some kind of villain, obviously, but that this Wolverine film will walk into the upcoming new X-Men trilogy. So obviously we know from X1, 2, and 3, and that they're erased from the timeline, obviously, but that the next Wolverine film will lead into X-Men 1 officially on the new timeline. So hopefully I'm not missing any there. Like obviously all the previous X-Men films have been erased from the timeline, and at this new timeline, we're now walking into X-Men 1 after the next Wolverine film, which I do believe, from that point on, it's a clean slate. So it means they can introduce new characters, introduce old ones possibly. So that's why I think that there will be some crossing over possibly in those X1, 2, 3, 5. I don't know how many films will go down. But that Fox is really just from X-Men Apocalypse on is kind of filling in the gaps, and that after the fact, after what happens in X-Men Apocalypse, then that will walk into X-Men 1 officially. That is kind of a blow-minder thing what Fox is doing. I do believe this really down that this is what they're doing. They're just rebooting obviously everything, and at this point they're able to, like, it would have been kind of stupid, but they were able to bring out X-Men Days of Future Past and the last Wolverine film, and they all had some kind of involvement in the next film, which is why I think X-Men Apocalypse will probably be the film that walks into X-Men 1. Because after X-Men Apocalypse, which is set in the 80s, I believe, in the mid 80s or something like that, what's going to happen in the next 15 years, really? They defeat Apocalypse, and it's 15 years later. I really believe that's what's going to happen. They've always said at least 10, 20 years ahead of from the last movie. Like the first one, X-Men First Class, was based in the 60s. I think it was the late 50s, early 60s. And that the next film after that was based in the 70s. And that this will be based in the 80s. And I think, being that X-Men 1, I believe, was set in 2002 or 2003, that it's better off just to jump to X1. On the new timeline. So that's where I think these things are going. So like I said, that's why I wouldn't count out Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart out as Professor X and Magneto, because really, like I said in this post, I posted something on Facebook that I said, as long as Fox has them and they're willing to come back for at least two to three films at a time, they will continue to include them in those films. It's only when they say, like, I'm sure they've been talking, and that, Ian McKellen, so I don't want to do anymore. They have Michael Fassbender. And at this point, they'll be able to age him up a little bit, to make him somewhat look like a much older Magneto, obviously, but that they will include Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart in at least a majority of the upcoming X-Men films. And then, there will be some involvement. Like, I really believe that either way, I don't think they're going to trade out James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender for them for every film. Like, I don't know what could happen. I just do believe that Fox will not trade them out for all those films if they still are willing to come back, which is why I think, like in Wolverine, in the next Wolverine film, that like Patrick Stewart will be involved there. So in the future, I do think they might, like, it might be X2 where Patrick Stewart finally puts up the chair on his wall and says, "I'm done. I can't do anymore." And that's where James McAvoy may come in. So James McAvoy will get X-Men Apocalypse, and then in the first X-Men film, maybe Patrick Stewart will return, and Ian McKellen will probably return in some capacity. Like I said, there could be a timeline storyline to all this too, so we'll have to see. This is where my own my own intuition is telling me of where I think Fox is going with this. It's one sec, guys. But that's my own personal opinion. But like I said, after X-Men Apocalypse, it's a clean slate. Means they can open up as many other new stuff as long as they don't fuck it up like they did with X-Men 3. Like they were obviously, I love the first X-Men 1 and 2. 3 was okay, but they can move forward, and then they will be able to include the Fantastic Four into the X-Men and Fantastic Four universe. Which once Fantastic Four will get their movie out, it does well, they'll probably get a second film, which will be probably early 2017. We'll get X-Men Apocalypse in 2016, and then we'll get our next probably Wolverine. X1 could have Fantastic Four in it. We'll have to see. Sorry, but yeah, that's where I think they have to eventually cross over. Like, there's only so many films, like Avengers films, it takes almost 4 years for them to be able to, like, justifying a crossover with them. So that's why I think in X1, they maybe, like X-Men will have their own film, and then then maybe in X2 they will have a crossover, and X3 they will have a crossover, and Fantastic Four will still have possibly their own film. And they'll just cross over like an Avengers film. They'll cross over when it's justified to do so, just like Marvel does. They don't cross over every character. They do the 1 or 2 characters, from Captain America, like Black Widow, cross over, have her, because it has to justify those characters to be in there. So, like I said, there has to be justification for the crossing over, so that's why, with Fox filling in the gap in the timeline, and then probably moving on from Wolverine, for the next Wolverine film, on to X1, X2, X3, so we'll have to see, but that's where my own theory goes, that, Fox is just combining their time, because, okay, we'll make X-Men Apocalypse, but we have to do something down the road, possibly in the official X-Men 1 film, which is obviously from from where the other original trilogy would have been. And I'm trying not to confuse myself here, but you do get what I mean, hopefully. If you don't, please post, and then I can clarify. But like I said, they're gonna make a new X-Men 1, 2, and 3 trilogy, and then hopefully those will include the Fantastic Four, like I said. And that's why I think Wolverine and Professor X will set that up in the new era after X-Men Apocalypse. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I do my very best. I did post a long rant. I think it was comicbook.com on Facebook. I just told them, I think it was them or another site that had said that Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart would be reprising their roles in some capacity in the upcoming films. So it'd be good to see them obviously come back. So yeah, I really think Fox is going the Marvel route, where they're doing everything as right as they can do them, and then have every movie tie into the next. Obviously, still making sure that those individual films stand on their own, but that they also do kind of tie in somewhat to a larger narrative, like what Marvel does. Each movie has its own storyline, but at the end of the movie, it will connect to a much larger storyline that will connect the Fox Marvel universe. So yeah, I hope that was good for you guys. I really want to rant on that because I really wanted to talk about that for a long time, because I obviously was away when the Fantastic Four trailer came out, and I wanted to make a video, but obviously in Cuba, hell, they didn't even have Wi-Fi there, so but it was very enjoyable to go to Cuba. I do tell anybody, if you ever want to go to Cuba, all I will say is that, if you're there for a week, you eat their food, you come back, you're going to be shitting your pants for 3 days, because you'll be getting off their food and you'll be eating your own, and trust me, it's not fun. You could drink drink for milk, and you could have half cup of milk, and you'll be in the washroom right there. You could eat like half, just like Pop-Tarts, you'll be in the washroom, because your stomach is, everything is getting out of your system, and I fucking hate that, which is why I did not make a video the first couple of days, because I could not sit for 20 minutes without having to go to the washroom. Not trying to sound disgusting, I'm just letting you know that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, my rant on about X-Men, Fantastic Four. I remember one of the characters from Fantastic Four, Michael B. Jordan. I can't remember all those characters from the new X-Men, just because I'm not very familiar with them, to tell you the truth. I know one of them was in that film, Transcendence, with Johnny Depp, but like all those characters were always supporting characters, so supporting. Those actors always had supporting roles. Sorry, but I promise to shape up and see. Research these characters. And oh shoot, I love when my Mac will just like totally log off and I have to log back in and my video is still running. That is awesome. There we go. Like I said, guys, I'll have another video up in a while. Also, I forgot to mention this. I did see the Jurassic Park 2 trailer too. Like I wish to do more reviews, but I can't always have my video and everything set up in the all in the same spot. They're always ever separated from each other, like my mic and my camera. But I did see it. I am very happy with what I've seen from Jurassic Park 2. Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park World, trailer 2. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. What's gonna happen? It does look like kind of like game app on the App Store. Jurassic Park Builder. It looks like that. Seriously, it really does look. I'm not like trying to. Like, it's not bad, it's not good, we'll have to see, but it looks like the game a lot. So, yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more. I make videos every week, or at least I try to, obviously. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and my name's Kevin, and as always, peace out.